Red 2 standing by, all 4 lit, and in the green. Welcome back to the Z3M3 Randomiser. We've made it back into Turtle Rock. And it is time to defeat Trinex. All of the dungeons in the Dark World will be complete. We will only have one more item to get in terms of dungeon completion, and that is the green pendant, which we get by beating Ridley. The fact that it is so far back in the game evidently means that Shamalama Ding Dong does not have anything interesting for us, which is a little bit bothersome. But we can make our way through the last of this. It has been an incredible journey. It seemed like there were times where we just didn't have enough to go on, where we'd get a bit stuck, and we had to get that one last crucial piece of evidence in order to succeed. And now this fight coming up is actually kind of tricky, because here's the thing, you want to get rid of the ice head first off. But the ice rod is really, really tricky as well. So I don't know. I think I will have to avoid having a slippery arena floor. That is the smarter thing to do. Okay, so you can't pause while that's happening. Now the ice rod's shots, as I've mentioned, can be very slow. That should have hit the mark. So, notice that we're out of magic, but once we get this bit done, we'll be good to go. Damn it, I still had the bottle. I'm gonna need that red potion. Trinex does do a fair bit of damage, and you only wind up... Oh yeah, and that ice, that doesn't disappear, which is a bit rough. Took a very long time to explode. Basically, dodge Trinex's center segment, and 3 blows with the golden sword will put it out of commission. The first part is probably the most irritating. We got 20 bucks and the last crystal, which means we can head right on over to Ganon's tower and do that. So the plan is sweep Ganon's tower, then wind up doing every last thing I can over in Super Metroid. I want to do a cleanup. I want to make sure we've got everything. There's only a couple of Lionels in the game, which is very interesting. Lionels were strong enemies, but not the utterly devastating menaces of Breath of the Wild. Like, they're strong opponents, as you can see. They do a bit of damage. But they're not... You can handle them by the time you generally run into them in this. You could easily walk around them in the original game, where they were opponents, and they were fairly strong in the Oracle games as well. So they've popped up here and there, where they were always fairly strong, but not super dangerous if you were cautious. Then they just got turned into the Juggernaut. It is very interesting seeing how everything has changed as far as different Zelda enemies have gone. Octoroks have generally been pretty similar. Their designs have changed a fair bit. Now if we go down this way, we'll loop around this way first. We've just got missiles up there. We don't need to unlock that door there. Yeah, so Octoroks have generally remained the sort of enemies which... Well, they're usually terrestrial, interestingly enough. But they've also been aquatic enemies as well, because in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask they're aquatic. And in Majora's Mask you actually have to freeze them to make platforms sometimes. such as getting into the Great Bay Temple and, I believe, accessing Akana. And then they go back. They're aquatic in again in Wind Waker. Then they don't actually. I think they. Yeah, no, they don't appear in Twilight Princess. I think it's they're Toad Polys or something like that. Okay. Half magic at last. Missiles. Half magic is going to be very good. $300. Okay, so I probably shouldn't have bothered trying to dodge them because I figured they'd just walk into me anyway, but sometimes relying on sword beams, as I said, is really not all that good in this game because they will wind up just getting in your way because sometimes the actual sword beam hits the enemy. Another E-tank, that's pretty good. So yeah, we've had all those things. We've had the enemies. I hate it when it does that. It's just so, it's really nitpicky. So yeah, Octoroks have appeared in I think in every game except Twilight Princess. So they're fairly. I think Stalfos have usually managed to appear one way or another. They technically didn't appear in Majora's Mask, interestingly enough. Because well, there were sort of the... Oh, rightio, the key for the Ice Palace that we don't need. So yeah, there were Stalfos of a kind in Majora's Mask, but the Akana Stalfos were very different. So that made for a pretty interesting change because you didn't fight typical ones. The closest was probably Egos to Akana and his goons because they did behave like that, but Egos was a fair bit tougher. Though it was very interesting to note that you could actually wind up putting on the Bremen mask, playing the Ocarina, and getting Egos's goons to follow you. It was really, really entertaining watching that happen, and even better, if you decided to try on Egos walking up to him while playing the music, he'd just kick you away. Everyone's a critic, you know. So yeah, pretty neat results there. And on top of that, you got a really nice little bonus from Egos. Because if you went to fight him and put the captain's hat on, he'd react to seeing Captain Keita, there's the last bottle, that'll be handy. And then he'd realise that Link was a heck of a lot smaller than Captain Keita was and realise you were pulling a fast one. So a lot of really entertaining approaches with that. They really put in some great foresight and ideas for Majora's Mask. The characterization is amazing in that game. Handy. Aw. Oh well, that was consistent enough. So just heart pieces. I think we've either got 4 more heart pieces or 5 more heart pieces or a heart piece in a heart container. But so yes, Stalfos have appeared pretty consistently. They often behave like the ones in this game, such as they do in Link's Awakening and the Oracle series. They could fight a bit in the original. They just sort of wandered around. They swung sword and they carried swords. And in the second quest, they could actually shoot sword beams because they were just sort of random movement adversaries in the pretty much in the first game, like a lot of enemies. So nothing really special for the old Stalfos. Now, there is something pretty neat you can do. Now, if I get it right, Okay, I didn't get it. I didn't get it quite right, but there are invisible pathways, and if you do get everything just right, you can exploit damage boosting. You need to get over here, but it saves you a lot of time walking around the pathway, and a lot of trouble using the ether medallion on top of that. So nice little shortcuts. Where you can get that delicious Gouda. So we need to bomb where that anti-fairy was swanning around. So usually that's bombs. So yeah, Stalfos did have impressive combat skills in Zelda 2. They picked that back up in Ocarina of Time and picked up some more in Wind Waker. Though it was mostly brute force than anything else. Though you could do some pretty interesting things when fighting them, because it was... I don't entirely remember how to do it. Oh, by the way. 1 silver arrow. And we need to go up here to get some items, because this is where you get the boss key. $5. Missiles. Missiles. There's going to be a lot of crap in here, in all fairness. So we've done a sweep of most of the first floor. There are fairies in here. So this is where you got the red mail too. So yeah, Stalfos had pretty good combat skills in Wind Waker, but you could actually blast their legs to pieces somehow, which made for a really funny result because they'd run around on their hands crying. More missiles. If you managed to steal their club, which was easy enough, they would pull off their arms and use it as a flail against you. And then if you caught that, if you threw the club at them, if they were intact, they'd catch it. They'd essentially draw it into them via their magic, and you would not do any damage. Oh, power bombs. No problem with that. Okay, so now Cane of Samaria is the... I think how we're supposed to do it. Can we push any of these? Ow. Yeah, no, it is Cane of Samaria. So we have to outlast the tiles in here too. So that will make things easier. But we've got hands. So we have to constantly move around, dodge the tiles, which our shield conveniently cannot block, but our sword can destroy, but we don't want to stay in the one spot. So, worth noting that while you can take out Wall Masters, they will keep respawning. Oh, the screw attack! Well, that's not bad. I don't think I need to go up there. I do not need to go up there. But there are more hands. The enemy is... The enemy is really throwing hands. Observe that our enemies will come back slightly later. So we need the fire rod for here. And, okay, so... Oh, there's nothing in here, damn it. Alright, so I can go here and we have to go all the way back and start again. This puzzle is really infuriating and you definitely want to have half magic for it, because you have to duck through that door very quickly. Now you can still roast the Gibdos in one shot with the fire rod, but... Okay, now don't ask me how this works. Okay, it's not working. Yeah, so somehow the explosion winds up basically being able to... The explosion basically winds up being able to roll along the conveyor belt. I don't know how how that works either. It's just one of those weird video game things that you don't question. Yeah, some things just don't make sense, so yeah. Stalfos do appear as fairly capable opponents in Twilight Princess. They're pretty strong, but they do have a bit of an issue. They are extremely vulnerable. Oh, the boss keycard for Lower Norfair. Extremely vulnerable to the ball and chain or bomb arrows. So you can defeat them very, very easily. Wait, can I not get that one? Oh, I can. Just power. So yeah, you can defeat Stalfos very, very easily through those methods. I don't know if there are any more items down here. I really don't think there are any more items down here, and it's just sort of looping around. Looping around doing a whole lot of annoying challenge rooms. I'll give it a try. What have we got in here? Oh yeah, there's a key, so that's always worth having. Yeah, I think... Okay, so I'm there. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else anyway. I'm not sure how all this works. Rightio, so yeah, we've been through most of the first floor. Some of this just loops around in a really weird way. Yeah, so if I... But I'll keep going. Well, I have to go back here because the floor collapses. I have to be very quick. Now it collapses. That's dirty pool. So I go in here. And then I wind up having to move this. I'm just trying to think if there is anything else through here. I really don't know. If I wind up in the... Yeah, no, there's definitely not anything through here because that... Let me look at the map. Yeah, that will take me to that big room which ultimately leads me to the big chest. So, I can warp back here and we can go to the upper floors. At least Wario will be able to do a little bit more. I just had to make sure I wasn't missing anything because Ganon's Tower has a lot of checks and I'm being a little finicky about some things. Alright, this bit's a right royal pain in the butt. Though we can avoid a fair bit of it. And that's how we open the door. There we go. Enemies avoided. This room gets to be a right pain in the butt if you've got the enemy randomizer. Well, it's actually a little easier, I think, if you've got the enemy randomizer on. Or... No, that was actually relatively simple. Still take damage from the spike traps, always 1 heart, which is annoying, but... So yeah, those weird... These are described as Gorrias. Their fireballs are blocked by the mirror shield, but not BMOS's lasers. Really stupid. BMOS have generally not been vulnerable opponents in a lot of games. As a matter of fact, Ocarina of Time was the first time they were vulnerable. So yeah, they'd be vulnerable in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I don't know if they appeared in... I don't think they appeared in the Oracle games, but they did go right... They did go right back to being invincible. If they did appear there. When they appeared in Wind Waker, I thought they were invincible, but you actually had to wind up tricking them into shooting the bombs as you got really close. You could get the timing right, but it was just very, very finicky to do. Okay, so if we take a few knocks here... That should have worked. I don't know why that didn't work. That also should have worked. I don't know why that didn't work. So... There we go. That's got it. I was doing it a bit late. So we can run over here. Now they say that you should... I think they usually say to damage boost to get yourself over there, but you can use that Pegasus Boots exploit. It's a little recharge room. And if you want to get back... Hookshot. Easy enough. So yeah, BMOS... Then they had BMOS appear in... I'm pretty sure they were in Twilight Princess. They might have been. I just don't remember off the top of my head. I think they might have appeared in the 2 DS titles, because they were definitely in Skyward Sword and had a really unique approach where you would actually wind up taking them out by either... You could shoot them in the eye with the bow, which you could only do later in the game, because the bow was actually a really impressive late-game weapon and a very good sniping weapon, while the slingshot actually got to see continued use as a tool for stunning enemies and could be upgraded like everything else. So pretty neat in that regard. So yeah, the bow could take them out by hitting them in the eye straight off the bat, but you usually took them out by cutting different segments. Oh, ice is a pain in the butt. Nobody likes ice physics. Absolutely no one. Maybe enemies that are designed for ice physics, but players do not like ice physics. I defy you to find somebody who thinks ice physics are an enjoyable, entertaining, and fair way of giving challenge to a player, damn it. Forcing me to relearn the controls is not good game design. So, the landmolars are actually fairly vulnerable to the ice rod. But why would you bother? I mean, under normal circumstances, you might want to try it for curiosity's sake. But it's really, 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 several reallys not worth it. Landmolars have also appeared in other titles across the series as well. Now, we want to use the Ether Medallion in here, because it's a good way to finish those off, and it also helps us see the path when they're actually materialized. So it's here, and then we cut across there, and we go in here. This room, you can just dash through. Okay, more whiz robes. Oh, that caused slowdown. Okay, ether. Whoa, slow down. I am really sorry about that. But don't worry, I've put flashing lights warnings up. Usually, I can just charge right through them. That didn't work. No extra health. So what have we got in here anyway? Oh, this room. This is the room I was thinking of. This sucks. So get rid of... these two pots. Then you have to go up here, around here. Get rid of that. Fire rod. And get stuck on a pot and... yeah, it's a right royal pain in the keister. Because you get maybe just enough time to get... I did do it a cack-handed way. You get maybe just enough time to get everything lit and go through to the next room. But we're there. And we can get lasered by eyes. Dodge those and we can go up the stairs. Nearly done. So this one also really sucks. And then you get monstered by those. You fall back down. Your mirror shield is useless. Should wait for that. And through we go. I think the most irritating bits are actually done. We've come all this way for a few extra checks. And we just get super missiles and money. So we can bomb our way through. That is picky. So probably best to try and do that to avoid getting stabbed by the spike trap. And now we can rack up some more energy. Now we'll need the boomerang. And I might be able to... have I trapped it in a loop? Yes, I think I... there we go. Got my health back. I think that's pretty much going to be the story of our collectibles for now. Missiles upon missiles upon missiles. And this should be Moldorm again. And I am not interested in fighting Moldorm in a proper drawn-out battle because we'll fall off. Wait, that's still... oh no, my sword collided with Moldorm. That's rough. My sword collided with the wrong bit of Moldorm. That's a robbery. There we go. Moldorm blows up. I still can't pause while Moldorm blows up. And we get to the chest. So yeah, Moldorms have appeared in quite a few games, mostly as basic enemies. Well, I won't complain about that. We've got one more heart piece to find. They started out being bosses in this game and Link's Awakening. They didn't really appear in... well, Moldorms themselves didn't appear in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, but there have usually been various worm-like enemies with the mold suffix. there have been land molars, which did appear in the original game and were surprisingly fast. They had large singular eyes, whereas Moldorms themselves also appeared but were essentially 5 dots. So, we are going to fight second Aghanim before we've even fought first Aghanim. So, we have to get our shots right. If we do get it right, we can actually deflect fireballs onto the clone's fireballs onto the real one. I haven't landed a single blow yet. This is getting embarrassing. 1, finally. So yeah, Aghanim actually popped up as a mini-boss in, as one of the final bosses forms in Link's Awakening. In a fairly interesting result. And he actually pops up as a mini-boss in Oracle of Seasons, where you fight him similarly, but there's an interesting gimmick to everything he does. You have to keep the torches in the arena lit. If you don't keep the torches lit, oh no, wait, hang on, he does it differently. You can't fight him like you would here. You have to keep the torches lit, see which one is the real one, and wind up attacking whichever one has a shadow, because otherwise you get the wrong one. Alright, so we've got plenty of stuff. Plenty of stuff here. I think it's probably a good idea to go to the Misery Mire, because I still don't have any keys for Aghanim's Tower. I don't want to go into the final boss fight just yet. There are still some things I can do. But it's probably a good time for me to wrap things up, so you're going to see me in Lower Norfair next. Thank you very much for joining me. Till next time, this is Red 2, returning to base.